In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Sunday night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and tonight is Bible study night. Come on in, take your shoes off, have a seat in the pew, pull up a chair, whatever you got to do, grab a book, grab a hymnal. Let's get church started. What's going on with you guys? I've been mechanicking all day. And, getting ever closer to perfection. Dirty fingers and all. Sorry about that. But I do have a nice hot cup of coffee to celebrate. And my friends have gathered for some Bible study. And I can't complain about that. That's perfect. Don't you want to have a cup with me? If so, go to the kitchen, pour yourself up a nice hot cup, and grab your Bible, and let's get it talking. If you don't have a cup or a coffee or a kitchen or the will to go in that direction, look down in the description below. You can find all of that stuff there. I recommend the first cup. It's my face. It's perfect. It looks great on a coffee table. Check it out. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. If you'd like to show a little bit of love, I'd appreciate that very much. If you want to, you can do that at CashApp $jakejohnsonband or PayPal.me/jakejohnsonband. And one last thing, if you'd like to hang out with us outside of the YouTubeverse, you can go over there to Facebook.com/UntetheredLive chilling. The link is in the chat. It's a great place to share pictures, text, videos, memes, and get to know each other. There's a private chat over there for you to chat privately, so go over there and chat about your private stuff privately in the private chat over there. And also, there are videos that are updated regularly that are adjacent to or concerning the things we talk about over here. They're usually fun and entertaining, or off the wall and weird, but they're always something to look at. So go check it out. It's free. It's yours. It's effortless. It's there. It's available. It's in front of you. You might as well click the link and go check it out. And now, who gets the gold star for being first in chat? Oh, Amy's first in chat. Hi, Amy. She says, hi, Jake and Amanda and Untethered Live family. Welcome to Bible study. Amen. Welcome to Bible study. Amy says the book of James. We don't do that here. I'm just kidding. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. True. My random act of kindness, I took my elderly neighbor and his friend a big plate of seafood boil. Nice. Always lovely to share. If you got extra, it's always good to share. So thank you for that. I'm sure they enjoyed it. I had a big old hunk of meat and a baked potato and some broccoli tonight, and it was delicious. Big old rump roast right in my face. I think my wife's trying to poison me between me and you. It's happening. I'm pretty sure it is. I think I tasted antifreeze. But it was good. I loved it. Amanda says, here's your gold star. And hamburger helper hand, Amy. And hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Tired and full and poisoned. Must be poisoned because it's making me sleepy. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. I'm tired. Anyway, it was a good meal. Big fat hunk of meat and a big nice earthy baked potato and some lovely broccoli with cheese and some sour cream and some... It was just good. It's good all the way around. And a hot cup of coffee to kick it all off. And cookies. See what I mean? Poison. Anyway, I'm doing good. How are you? Linda's here. She says, hi, y'all. Wave your hand. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the show. Amanda says, here's the link to the chilling page and Hamburger Helper Hand Linda. Amy says, like, shared, and invited some friends. Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Maureen Flood's here. Hi, Maureen. She says, hi, folks. Amy says, hi, Cookie. Amanda says, Maureen, Hamburger Helper Hand. Amy says, something. Hold on. Hi, Mother Maureen. Mother Maureen. Weird. I like it, though. It's kind of different. Maureen says, Aaronic blessing from Numbers 6:24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. Amen. And I need every bit of that I can get, especially this week. So thank you for that prayer, and I hope that that applies to every single person in this chat, including me. I don't usually pray for myself, but occasionally I need it. So thank you. Maureen says, hi, Amy. And hi, Amanda and Jake. Hello. How art thou? Hope you're doing well. Maureen says, shared a blessing I saw and heard today that I really like. If the Aaronic blessing, not to be confused with moronic or anything that sounds like it. It's Aaronic from Aaron, not Aaron the dude in here, Aaron the brother of Moses. But the dude that comes in here could say it too, but it originally came from Moses' brother, who did the talking in the family. Moses was kind of a milly mouth. Angela Ashkins is here. She says, hello, my family heart. Hello, my family, Angela. Nice to see you. A big virtual hug to you guys, to all of you. Amy says, I like it, Maureen. Thank you. It was a blessing. I appreciate that. Amy says, Angel, good to see you. Maureen says, me too. Love y'all. We love you too. Amanda says, Angela, Hamburger Helper Hand. Maureen says, hi, Angela. Amy says, I had sourdough bread with homemade lemon garlic butter. Nice. Nice, nice. I got overfed today, like a king, like a big, might as well I had a bone sticking out of it. It was good. Maureen says, please like and share so Jake can reach more people. Amen. I appreciate that, Maureen. Thank you. Amy says, it's not Linda bread. I'm not that lucky, but it was good. Linda does make good bread from what I hear. I can't wait to try some. Angela says, Amy, Amanda, Maureen, Jake, everyone, heart. Angela, heart back at you. Poop, 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 poop. Mine has a leaky valve. Maureen says, invite your friends too. Yeah, be a pro. Be a pro. Share the show with everyone you know. Okay. Amanda says, geesh, you sound like you are spoiled and loved. Imagine that. Or being poisoned. One or the other. Amy says, Aaron is a blessing. He is. Oh, sorry. Aaronic blessing. Yes, Aaronic blessing. Yes. Aaronic. You say it Aaronic, not ironic. Isn't it Aaronic? No, it's Aaronic, not ironic. He drives an IROC Z. I don't know why. Judy's here. She says, hi, Jake and Amanda. Judy, nice to see you, love. How are you? Maureen says, that blessing is for all. Thank you, Maureen. Amy says, from Aaron in the time of Moses. Yes, that one. I mean, our Aaron could have said it, but it came from Moses. Moses' brother. Yeah. Amanda says, Judy, Hamburger Helper Hand. And Amy says, Judy, wavy hand. And Judy says, hey, Amy, Linda, Maureen, and Angel. Angela says, hello, Judy Heart. And Maureen says, hi, Judy. Mr. Nuggets here. He says, good evening, all you wonderful people. Hello, John. Nice to see you. How are you? Amanda says, Nugget, hamburger helper hand. And Amy says, Big John Nugget, wavy hand. Maureen says, I found a recipe for Ezekiel bread I want to try making. I don't think Ezekiel would like that very much. Maybe try flour bread and leave the Ezekiels alone. I'm just saying, I don't think they want to be crunched up and put in bread. They get a bad rap for being Amish already. What with the no air conditioning and constant barn building? Maybe you could just leave them out of this one. Judy says, hey, Nugget. Amy says, crab legs, too much work for too little meat. But it was free, and I'm not complaining. Well, that was a complaint, so yes, you are. And, yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get to that little bit of meat that's in a crab leg. But, very tasty when you get there. I recommend a nutcracker. It works wonders. A nutcracker and a hammer. If you're going to eat crab legs, don't puss around. Go all out. Get you a sledgehammer and a nutcracker and get in there. That's how you do it. Judy says, it is a lot of work for a little reward, Amy. Right? Most wonderful things are a lot of work for very little reward. But you get that reward, and it's so worth it. Debbie's here. She says, hamburger helper hand. Hello, Debbie. Nice to see you, love. I hope you're behaving yourself and having a good time today. Amanda says, Debbie, hamburger helper hand. Judy says, hey, Debbie. Amy says, LOLOL, Ezekiel jokes. I'll try. Kevin Bernard, what's up, my brother? He says, hello, Jake, Amanda, and everyone. Hi, how are you? We missed you this week. Sorry, my light just went out. That was weird. John says, I just woke up. I slept all day. Sometimes you need to. I've done that a few times, like yesterday. Sometimes you need that sleep, buddy. It's all right. Amy says, hi, Debbie. And Amy says, hi, St. Bernard. Amanda says, I wish I could have, Nugget. I'm so sleepy now. Well, that's just because you filled your gullet, and it's kind of hard to be awake when you're digesting food. All right, stop it. My light keeps going out. It's weird. If it does it again, you're just going to have to see half of my face. Yeah, it's hard to stay awake when you're full. I understand that. I'm sleepy too. The reason is we waited so long to eat. We forgot today was Sunday, actually. We were expecting to take a 30-minute nap and get up and be ready for 8:30. And then we realized after eating it was already 7:30. And we got to go to work at 8. So. Amanda, come play with this light. It needs to be not quite seated. See what you can do with that. Thank you. Maureen says, hi, Kevin Bernard. Kevin says, hamburger helper hand, Amy. Debbie says, Ezekiel bread is like Girl Scout cookies, but with more Ezekiels. I never knew that. I didn't either. Thank you. You know who you are. God bless you. Yep. You add more Ezekiels and it's less Girl Scout cookie and more neck beard. Amanda says, Kevin, hamburger helper hand. And Judy says, hey, Kevin. Kevin says, hello, Maureen. Hello, Charlene. Chew your gum. Amy says, I like Girl Scout cookies, Debbie. I do too. Especially with the little skirts. Anyway. Everything's a sexual joke with you, Jake. That's what I do. What can I say? Hello. He's back. But for how long? Jake, you tripping tonight, says Maureen. Always. I'm just trying to have a good time, Maureen. I work with the material I'm given. and sometimes it's funny. John says, recently I stopped drinking coffee and switched to tea. Oh, my God. Why would you do a thing like that? Stay away from the coffee. Tea is good and very British, but it's not coffee. Coffee will make you stand at attention. But just leave it like that. Maybe it'll stay. I don't know if it's overheating. Maybe it's just old. Is the plug hot? Okay. I think it might be the time to get a new plug. Is it a little box? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little box. They get old. It's time for new plugs. I got a fan on it. Maybe it'll stay. Maybe. We'll see. I got the air conditioner on. I don't know why it's getting hot. Well, it's down there on the floor. It can't get no air. Maybe. Debbie says, play with the light, Amanda. Nothing else. Yeah. Down, girl. Amy says, smiley, smiley. And Kevin says, why is Amanda turning out the lights during Bible study? It's overheating. It keeps cutting out on me. Maybe it'll stay on. I can't reach over there and mess with it while I'm in camera. She's my backup pair of hands. For all sorts of things, actually. Debbie says, is the plug hot? Or is that code for something? It's code for the plug is hot. Amanda says, but I like playing, LOL. Jake likes it too. All right. We got a great read in store for us tonight. We're in the great book of in the great book of Exodus. Chapter of 12, verse 15. Chapter 12, verse 15. That's where we left off last week. That's where we're going to pick up this week. It's going to be a great read, so get excited and get ready. Maureen says, are y'all sending Morse code with the light? It would be awful hard to do that with that light. Plug, unplug, plug, unplug, plug, unplug. Amanda says, LOL, trying, Maureen. We're just aiming for keeping it on, so it would be like a long dash if it were Morse code. So if we were speaking in Morse code, it would be saying, wah! John says, static electricity. Maybe. I think it's just getting hot, the old plug. It's one of those little cubes with all the... These lights have USB plugs. That's what they run off of, USB. So you have to buy the box to plug the USB thing in so you can plug it into the wall. And they get old and they're cheap and they just wear out. And before you know it, they start getting hot and making your lights go out. If I was a smart man, I would cut the tips off of them and hook it into a 9-volt battery power supply and then just plug it directly into the wall. But apparently I'm not smart. Amanda says it's just a USB plug. It gets hot when it's hot out. Kevin says, I'm going to have to leave tonight after the reading. What for, buddy? What you got going on? How you doing, by the way? We've been missing you. Are you okay? Is life going good for you? Are you a happy man? Amanda says, I'll just put new lights on layaway. Oh, don't worry about that. The lights are fine. It's just the plug. They've been good lights. They've lasted for, 2 years now? That's not bad. Kevin says, I got my first day of work starting tomorrow. All right. Well, that's a good thing. Good sign. But you do need to get some sleep, so don't let me keep you up. Just know that I love you, and I'm wishing the best for you. And you can always watch Bible study while you're in the car if you got to. A good thing I'm not devilishly handsome, or you wouldn't have to look at the screen. You could just listen, put your earbuds in, and go about your business. Amanda says, or get a better, stronger plug for them. That's probably what we're going to do, a supply box. Yeah, I'm probably going to get one of those strips that has the USB plugs in it and just run them all on the same strip and then have that run into a heavy-duty cord, plug it into the wall. That's probably what it'll be. Amy says, new job, Kevin? Or seasonal job? One or the other. I got some more work done on the bike today. Got the tires back on and everything back rolling again. Rode it around a little this afternoon, so she's back on the road. I still got a lot of work to do, but the stuff that we're keeping it not running is done. I just have to do the peripheral stuff now. So that's a good thing. You already gave me, you gave me one, but it's not the right thing for what I need. It does do the job for other things. John says, LED light strip, cheaper bills. Yes, these are LED lights. They're in light boxes because I have to have diffuse light. If that makes any sense. So I have one there, and two in front of me. And they're like little light boxes so that the even light goes out. It's just easier to light for camera use. And I'm in a very tight space, so I can't have very big, powerful lights. If I had more room behind me, I could, or in front of me, I could put lights further in front of me and cover the whole area. But since I'm in such a tight area, I kind of have to do it this way. Angela says, that's awesome, Jake. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. And Linda says, oops, I dozed off. Are you that tired, honey? Won't you go to bed? I'll be here tomorrow. I love you. I don't want nobody feeling bad. Judy says, LOL, Linda. And Amanda says, LOL, Linda, not allowed. Wake up. Debbie says, Kevin, get to romance the old ladies with pools. Hopefully this year. He will snag one, hopefully. Are you doing poolside service? Or are you doing pool cleaning? What is it? Pool installation? Pool delivery? Pool fishing? That'd be fun. Wouldn't catch a lot, but be fun. Amy says, I need coffee or I'll doze off too. Me too. Pool everything, says Kevin. I got it. Well, I'm proud of you, man. Good job. All right, let's get after it, shall we? Everybody's so sleepy, and me too. Might as well get it done and go to bed. Angela says, Kevin, do you do pools for the season? The winter pool is my favorite. Summer pool, winter pool, fall pool, spring pool. You can't stay in it, though. It'll keep throwing you out. It's very bouncy. Huh? What? Did I? Not allowed to wake up. Kevin gets a romance. Need coffee. Pool everything. Angela says, Kevin, do you do above ground pools? What did I say? Did I read that wrong? Opening pools for the season. No, well. I was not aware of that. I'm sorry. Debbie says, Kevin does everything that needs done. Everything that needs done. That's awesome. Pool financing. 7% APR. Right here. Amy says, smiley face. Kevin says, Angela, we do all kinds of pools. Do you do kiddie pools? Like the little trailer trash redneck, put a lawn chair in the middle of it, kiddie pools with the arm floaters? That's the kind of pool I want. Angela says, my son does that too, but he also builds RVs 4 days a week. Hey, diversify. That's one way to do it. Car pools. That's a good one. Do you do car pools? I bet you don't do car pools. My head's going to break if I keep doing that. Amanda says, LOL, wake up, Jake. Apparently I'm on autopilot. Linda says, I'm putting a pool in this year, Kevin. Not a big pool, but smiley face. A moon pool. She's putting a pool in her house, so when the waves rise up, it'll come up in the floor and she can just dive right into the ground. Angela says, Jake, my TV has a delay compared to chat on my phone. It does that. There's a natural, probably a 4 to 8 second delay, just because from broadcasting, it is recorded and then it is broadcast out, and then YouTube picks it up and delivers it. So there's going to be a little delay. But when you then run it over to a TV, which is another device that has to pull it from the internet, there might be a delay there too. So that's just the nature of the way video travels. Not a lot I can do about that. I've got zero latency, super low latency, so it should be just as quick as it can put together a packet, you receive it. But there is going to be a little bit of a delay. Kevin says, we haven't had a carpool in yet, just deer. Deer pool, nice. Or we haven't had a car in a pool yet, but just a deer. I got you. Deer like to swim too. A lottery pool, says Amy. There's only one winner there, though. And it ain't us. Amanda says, I want a hot tub or a hot tub bathtub. A hot tub bathtub? Wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose? Get soap in your jets. Debbie says, Linda, Kevin can be your pool boy then. He has to change his name to Alejandro and wear a banana hammock. Alejandro, yes, madam. I'm way too sexy for your pool, but here I come. And you have to walk like that while you're carrying a tray. I don't know. How do you... you got to have somewhere to put your pool tools. Care to hold my pool tool? How about my pool noodle? Hey. It's a great day for America, everybody. Come on in. What about a dead pool? Ha, nice, mind stretcher. Nailed it. Good one. How you doing, Dennis? Nice to see you. Have you met Alejandro, our pool boy? He is way too sexy for his pool noodle. Angela says, I'm watching and listening on TV, but watching with no sound so I can read the chat in my phone. Nice. Amanda says, Dennis, hamburger upper hand. And Linda says, right, Debbie? Smiley face. Amanda says, good movie. Dennis. Dennis says, Amanda, wavy hand. Judy says, hi, Dennis. Kevin says, deer, like 200-pound deer. Well, you ain't got to call them fat. They can't help it. It's that time of year. They have to stock up on rabbits. Yep, I've seen a deer in a pool before. I've also seen a guy that hit a deer and thought he killed it, so he put it in the back of his truck, was going to take it home and skin it. And on the way home, it woke up and like to tore his truck to pieces trying to get out of it. Oh, yeah. Dennis says, hey, Judy. Amy says, hi, Dennis. Amanda says, it's a big garden tub with jets. Dennis says, hey, Amy. Amy says, what's for lunch? Pool noodles? If you're a lucky girl, yeah. Dennis says, hey, Jake, good to see you. My brother. Patty's here. Hi, hello, children. Hey, Patty. Nice to see you, love. Amy says, poodles. Like a pool noodle. Poodles. Judy says, hey, Patty. Amy says, hi, Patty. Amanda says, Patty, hamburger upper hand. And Debbie says, Alejandro, ha, ha, ha. That's Kevin from now on. Yes. I love it. Amy says, Patty is here. I'll be good. Right on. Kevin says, the deer drowned during the winter, and they left it in the pool until spring. Jesus Christ, why? That had to be soupy and nasty. Gross. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. That sounds terrible. Amanda says, that's nasty, Kevin. Amy says, I bet that is horrible, Kevin. I'm sorry. Me too. Judy says, gross, Kevin. Just think of how soupy that pool would have been after all that decay and liquids. I don't even think bleach would take care of that. Kevin says, these people only use their homes as summer homes. Ah, I see. So they may not have even known about it until spring. I got you. Debbie says, marinated deer. It's what's for dinner. Marinated in chlorine. At least it's clean. It's clean, dead rot. Amy says, LOL, Debbie. Blech. Dennis says, I'm sorry I heard that. I'm sorry you heard that too, buddy. Some things you can't unhear. Amanda says, just imagine it fell to pieces coming out gross. Yep, it fell to pieces. I imagine it was already in pieces. Probably nothing but strips of deer. And some hide floating on the top. Ugh. And all that hair. Angela says, my son and his friend brought a deer head that they sawed off a dead deer, wrapped it up in a trash bag on the Christmas night or Christmas Eve, and gave it to my daughter like a late Christmas present. Was she receptive? Did she like it? Was that something she wanted? Otherwise, ew. John Anthony, hello, Mr. Pete. He says, come on in. The water's fine till you step on a deer. And John says, I have no idea. Amanda says, John, wave a hand. Kevin says, one of our guys has a wetsuit for just such occasions. I bet. I wouldn't want to go in that water unless I was well protected, because that's nasty. You get all kind of diseases from a deer like that. Lyme disease and everything. Slow cooked stew, says Dennis. Right? A deer in a pool for a half a season? Yeah, that's a slow cooked stew, all right. Not the kind you want to eat. Debbie says, kids, let's play a game. Bobbing for deer parts. Right. Amy says, rigger soup. Angela says she still has nightmares about it, and it's been 23 years, so she was not receptive. Did not expect that happening. Okay. Yeah, shame on brother then. How awful must that have been? I'm used to it. I grew up around deer heads, so it wouldn't have bothered me at all, but I could see why it would if you weren't used to it. It's like waking up with a horse head in your bed. Did he make her an offer she couldn't refuse? Angela says, we lived in a very small town. My kids had freedom almost like we were Gen X did. I hear you. Well, that's good. I think that builds good character, having freedom to make your own decisions when you're young, because you also have to learn how to function when you're young. And these kids today do not know how to function. They are messed up, and I don't think there's any help for them. I think we lost an entire generation here. But that's just my opinion. Debbie says, I went to a friend's house for dinner, and we were having lamb stew, and the head was in the trash in the kitchen. It was kind of creeping me out, and that is hard to do. I just said, well played, right? So they slaughtered that lamb. Where did you expect them to put the head? Personally, I would have put it outside, but, if you got some good redneck folks. Sorry, my phone was blowing up. Kevin says, did we all hit that like button? Did you? I don't have a like button, but if I did, I would have hit it. John Anthony says, I don't have nightmares normally anymore. I noticed if I'm really stressed in life or did work in a confined space that day, then that night, I'm way more likely to have a nightmare. Yeah, well, a nightmare is a reflection of what your brain records. It's your mind's way of processing and working through stuff, and the visuals is just a bonus. But I would imagine that's why you have nightmares, because you're having trouble processing something, you know. Bill Bennett's here. Hello, Bill. Nice to see you, brother. He says, hello, Untethered Live fam. I unsubscribed and redone. Still no notifications, but I'm here. Long time no see. I'm sorry, buddy. That's not something I'm doing. I put out a notification every night at 6 o'clock. If it don't get to you, it's YouTube doing it, not me. I would suggest writing them a letter and asking them why you're not getting notifications. Also check and make sure the bell icon is hit all. Amanda says, Bill, hamburger helper hand. John says, Gen X grew up having respect for others and kin. Yeah, because we learned what respect was, and if we didn't have it, we'd get our teeth knocked out with a frying pan. Kevin says, hamburger helper hand, Bill. Judy says, nope. Thanks, Kevin. Angela says, thanks for the reminder, Kevin. Heart. And Judy says, hey, Bill. Amanda says, sorry, Bill. The only other thing I can think of is you have your notifications off on your phone settings. That's possible. Have you checked your phone settings for notifications? It might be blocking any notifications coming in. Are you getting notifications for other things, or is it just me? Mr. P says, first thing I do is hit that like button. And if I don't, I'll forget it till the very end. Well, thank you, John. Kevin says, off topic, but I got my butt kicked at the casino for the first time. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Did you walk away kind of unscathed, or did you lose big? Were you able to salvage the night in any way? Or did it cut you up in little pieces? Amanda says, way to go, Kevin. Judy says, do you usually win, Kevin? Amanda says, you give up yet? LOL. Angela says, I won't even go, Kevin. Sorry. I'm sorry you had a bad night, buddy. I know that sucks. I have been on a losing streak myself for the past couple of months, but it's turning around. It's looking up. Mr. P says, well, stay your butt out the casino. House always wins. Amen. Linda says, I don't get notifications either. I just know when to be here. I do get notifications from other channels, so it's Jake's channel. There's always the possibility that they're shadow banning me again. I don't know why they do that, and I don't know how to change it. I put out notifications. I don't know why they don't go out. But I tell you what, I will email my handler and see if they can give me some kind of answer on it. I will ask. So let's see what they say. Kevin says, I usually break even. This time I lost. But I only play with what I am willing to lose. So at least you were able to walk out of there with your skin intact. That's good. I'd hate for you to lose a lot. Amy says, hi, Mr. P. And Bill says, I'm not subscribed to a lot of things. I think it's just yours. I've been losing for 46 years. The house wins. LOL. You're not wrong. And Judy says, smart, Kevin. John says, hello, Amy. Wave your hand and rock on. Bill says, they don't want the true word out there, the devil that is. I think you're right. I think you're right. There's no other reason I can think of to ban me because I'm not all that controversial. I don't say anything that most other people don't say. I just say it with a little bit of truth involved, and they don't like that at all. So it's not surprising to me that you get flack when you're over the target. But I take that as a badge of honor because I'm doing the right thing, or they wouldn't be bothering me. Amy says, hi, Bill. Amanda says, that's right, Bill. And Judy says, hey, John. Kevin says, I came home with half my money, if that counts, LOL. That's something. That's more than a lot of gamblers do. A lot of guys lose big and they don't have anything left. So you're a smart guy. Debbie says, Kevin can send me the money and I will let him call me the house. Hey, there are other ways to lose money. That's right. John says, only thing I wouldn't mind going for at a casino is betting the horses. If you know how to read the program and how horse racing politics are, you've got a shot at win here and there. I don't know anything about horse racing other than obvious things like don't bet on the guy with the fat jockey, and if the horse looks sick, bet on the other horse. Things like that. I've never bet on anything like that. I've never done any serious gambling. I don't think I've ever even been in a real casino before. I might have played in a couple of them, but I was on the music side. I wasn't on the gambling side. Judy says, LOL, Debbie. And John says, other channels tunes been messing up too. Other channels YouTube has been messing up too, says John. Yeah, they do that. And we're also at a wartime, so you can expect the government to become more authoritarian. You know the word I'm trying to say. Authoritarianism. Yeah, more of that. I can't say the word author. Authority. Authoritarianism. Yeah, that word. There's more of that's going to happen when we're at war. So just look for it. Just be here at 8 or 8:30. You know I'll be here at 8. So on Sunday and 8:30 every other day. Amanda says, I identify as the house, LOL. Well, you hitch your wagon to the wrong guy because I'm broke. Amy says, that's true, Mr. P. My friend does good on the ponies using his system. His system. Everybody has a system. Judy says, too cheap to gamble. Nah, I'm too broke to gamble. I've never had enough money I felt like going to a casino. I bought a couple of lottery tickets and lost all my money, so I quit doing that. Amanda says, me too, Judy. I refuse to feed a machine all my money. Me too. Amy says, I can't afford to gamble, Judy. I hear you. Kevin says, I've been to the casino 5 times this year, and overall, I think I'm down $400. That's not bad. Some people will lose everything and keep going, start borrowing money to gamble. I mean, at least you don't do that. I wouldn't feel bad about it if I were you. You're enjoying yourself. It's your money that you worked for, and it's not hurting your rent or your family. Go have a blast. There's no wrong in that. Judy says, I like to have something to show for my money. I just like to have some money. I ain't even thought to the show part yet. John says, Amy, I did really well as a young 25-year-old. The devil can latch on in those environments, though, so it is something I try and steer away from. Good thing I don't have a feel for the racing world right now. Well, there's all kinds of things to bet on. I'm trying to bet on me. Kevin says, each time we go, we're there for more than 6 hours. Sounds like you're having a good time. Amy says, exactly. Everything in moderation. You have to enjoy life a little, or what's the point? Exactly. You will never hear me tell you that you shouldn't enjoy yourself. You absolutely should. Just be smart about what you're doing, that's all. Think it through. Think about what you need. Think about what you do to gain what you need. And then think about, okay, I have this weekend and I want to enjoy it. How can I diversify? If you do that, you're fine. Sounds like he is, so. Linda says, as long as you get to enjoy yourself, Kevin. Right. Kevin says, so the way I see it, I paid for a night's entertainment. Correct. Yeah, and it's your money. You worked for it, so you deserve to do what you wish with it. And if you got all your bills paid and you're just sitting around wanting to go have a good time, by all means, there are way worse things to blow your money on than having a good time. Believe me, you could be a drug addict. Those people don't ever get anything out of their money. That's quite all right. John says, if I had a better feel for the who's who of racing, I'd be trying to learn who's on what horse and what their qualifying time was, the last 4 races, etc. It can consume you if you're not careful. Moderation. All things in moderation, especially in moderation. You don't want to overdo moderation because then you don't get anything. Kevin says, plus casino pays for meals, right? Yeah, if you're a big spender, they give you perks. Like, they might even comp you a motel room or something like that if you're spending, because they want to keep you spending, you know. Just don't get in a situation where a guy named The Thumb wants to remove your kneecaps, you know. Don't get in that situation. All right. Let's get after it, shall we? Let me mark my chat, 8:47, and let's go down. And we left off just before the Passover situation in Egypt. We're in that period of time where the Egyptians are refusing to let go of the Israelites, and the Israelites are in the process of being liberated by God and released into freedom for the first time in 450 years. So all these things are coming to pass. The Pharaoh's heart has been hardened several times, and there have been several plagues poured out on him as a show of force by God. And here we are, moving forward. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. This is the Passover we're describing now. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. That's how important this is. You get blackballed from the community if you partake in risen bread, or in this case, the leaven is allegory for sin. That's the whole point. It's a metaphor that you visually and you live out this metaphor physically, visually and physically, so that you can be reminded of what it is you're doing. And if you're an Israelite, it is on the forefront of your mind to catch this in its entirety and be correct. That way, you can be reasonably sure that they have kept this Passover from the time it started until now. They have not lost that 7-week or 7-day period of the week, so that they can make sure they know when the Passover occurs every year. So even though our calendar has changed 3 times in that length of time, maybe 4 times, they've either taken out or added days to the calendar to keep that 7-day week so that they don't lose that continuity from the beginning of Passover until now, because their very soul is incumbent upon them keeping it. You cannot screw this up. If you're Israelite, you have to do it right. So I'm reasonably sure that today we are still in accordance with the Passover as it started 2,500 years ago. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. This is a get-together where they commune and pray and eat together and talk about what's going on, worship God, basically. The word convocation means a specific thing. Amanda, will you put the meaning in the chat? But it's basically a get-together for the people to commemorate the beginning and the ending of this Passover week. No manner of work shall be done in them, those convocation days. That would be Saturday and Saturday. Save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So you prepare the meal that you're going to eat, and that is the only work you do on that day. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. That's the 7 days of eating unleavened bread. Unleavened is like crackers. It has no yeast in it. It does not rise. For in this self-same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever, which I was talking about earlier. That's what they've done. They have observed this 7-day week process month by month forever. Every generation has done it since the beginning of it. So God changed the month back to April being the first month of the year. So it's not January, it's actually April. That's the beginning of the year. And if you measure your year April to April, everything lines up exactly right in the celestial calendar, in the way that the sun works and the moon works, and everything falls into 364.7 days. That's how it works. 364.7 days. That's a year. And you don't need a leap year, and you don't need daylight savings time. That's nonsense that the Westerners came up with to make up a year if we keep it 365 days. It's not. A year is not quite 365 days. That's the problem. If they would just shorten it, it would be perfect. But they don't like odd numbers, I guess. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at evening, that would be the 14th day past the spring equinox. That would be April 1st to April 14th. At evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day. That's the 21st day, from 14 to 21, which is 7 days of the month at evening. So if you want to know when Passover occurs, know that the first month is April, and you go 14 days at sundown. Now, that does not always add up to the calendar that we use to this day. Last year, they celebrated Passover of almost a full week after I did. I can't help it. If you want to move the Passover around, that's your business. But I'm going to do it when God said do it, which is on the 14th day past the spring equinox, which is the first day of the year. And then the one thing I don't do is the 7 days of unleavened bread, because I'm not Jewish, and I'm doing this in remembrance of Christ, so I only need to do it that one day, the unleavened bread and the wine, and read the book about Christ and about Passover, and that's it, because that's what Christ said do. Do this in remembrance of me. Take ye and eat, take ye and drink, and remember me. That's what he said do, so that's the way I do it. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. So even if you're not Hebrew, you will be cut off of the team. You'll be voted off the island if you eat leaven. Now, that is the second time that is said that very same phrase for emphasis. Anything worth remembering in the Bible is always repeated at least twice, sometimes 3 times. And in this case, it'll repeat it 3 times. Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. So this is a very beat over the head kind of thing. Make sure you understand this. During Passover, you do not eat leaven if you're Hebrew. Don't even have it in your house. remove it from your house so the temptation, so you don't accidentally bump into it. Don't smell it, nothing. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. All the elder people, all the oldest of the group, according to your household, go get a lamb and slaughter it and prepare it for meal that night. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin and strike it, the lintel and the 2 side posts of your door with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out that door until morning. So when they go in their houses, they shut that door and they do not come out until morning. Why? Well, because during that evening, the death angel is going to come into town and wash over the town. And if you walk out that door, you're going to be killed, right? So the reason for the striking of the blood on the doorposts, the lintel, which is the top piece, and the 2 side posts, back then they didn't have 2x4s, so it was probably a piece of rock that they attached the door frame to. Anyway, the reason for that is to tell the death angel not to go into that house. He would look at the door, and if he saw the blood, he would pass over that house, hence the word Passover. Let's see. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. Who is the destroyer? You might call it, in another culture, you might call it a grim reaper. You might call it the death angel. You might call it Satan. Who knows what it is, but it is driven by God. God brought it, and God intends to use it. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. From this day forward, every year you will do this ritual. You will get a lamb for your house. You will put on your shoes and gird your loins and tie your belt and have your staff in hand, and you will eat hastily. Get it all down your gullet and be ready to go every year, even though you're not going anywhere, to remember this occasion. Because God delivers you out of the hand of Egypt with his strong right hand. Those are my words. And it shall come to pass, when you become to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that you shall keep this service. Never forget it. Do it every year. Teach it to your children. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? Why are you doing this, Dad? That you will tell them, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their heads and worshipped. Amen. And the children of Israel went away, and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. And it came to pass, at midnight, the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. They were wailing and lamenting and crying and grieving, because every single house, their firstborn child died, even if he was 30. If that was their firstborn, he died. Same with the cows, same with the dogs, same with the pigs, same with the crickets. Every firstborn living thing died that night because the death angel smote Egypt. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, "Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you have said." That's what Pharaoh did. Get out of here. We've had enough. This is the last straw. Take it and leave. Also, take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. Yeah, don't forget old Pharaoh here who's letting you go. Kind of funny. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, "We be all dead men." And the people took their dough before it was leavened, and their kneading troughs, being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. In other words, they used their clothes to carry things with. You all right? Like you ever put stuff in your shirt and carried it? Like that. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels and silver, jewels of gold and raiments, clothing. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, meaning they gave them a lot of gold, a lot of silver, a lot of clothes, a lot of doohickeys. There was a large portion of Israelites carrying nothing but doohickeys. There was a doohickey division. So that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. They took them for everything they had. Believe that. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth. That's cities. Ramesses, not the Pharaoh, the city. To Succoth. About 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children and women. 600,000. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So there was 600,000 men, plus women, plus children, plus cows and lambs and asses and goats or whatever they had, chickens, lots of chickens. So it was millions at the end of it all. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry. They couldn't wait. They had to go right then. Just like God said, be ready to go, because when I say go, you need to leave right now, lest they change their mind again, to which they do. Neither had they prepared for themselves any victuals. They didn't even bother making snacks for the road. They didn't even have Mountain Dew poured back, in a bottle. They had nothing. They left carrying nothing but gold and silver and clothes, had no food, so they had to stop at Succoth and do some baking real quick so that they could have some snacks on the road. I mean, it ain't like there's a Circle K in the next town. There's nowhere to stop. There's no Waffle House on the exit 95. They're going, and they got to have something to eat while they're going, so they had to stop and do some bacon. Unleavened bacon, by the way. So that's Cracker Town, for those of you that don't know. A lot of dry mouths. A lot of not understanding what they're saying because their mouth's full of cracker dust. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. I said 450. 430 years they lived in Egypt. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. They exited, stage left immediately. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed for all the children of Israel in their generations. Always observe this night. So if you ever go to Israel, you'll note that every Passover they gather together in homes and they do this ritual for 7 days. Even to this day, they still do it. Even if they don't believe in God, they still do it. Because it's very important that they do it. It's drilled into their heads. It's a matter of there's not another option. You have to do it. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. But every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. Why? Because he's now part of the family. If you buy a servant and he's circumcised, he's now an adopted Jew, right? And there's a lot of those. We do it now. We've formed a religion out of it. So there's a whole sect of people that call themselves Jews that are not of the bloodline of Judea, but they have adopted themselves into the family. Whether they follow the rules or not, I don't know. That's not for me to say. But they say they are. So if they're part of the family, then they're part of the family. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. No, foreigners and hired servants are not part of the family. If they have become part of the family, then they're part of the family. They can observe the Passover, or should. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof. What he means is, you don't share. You have a lamb for your house. Whoever's in your house, you get as much meat as you need to feed those people, not extra, right? And if you have leftovers, you certainly don't take it over to your neighbor's house to make sandwiches or have a barbecue. That's a no-no. You don't even break the bones. You cook the whole animal intact. Take the guts out, cook the whole animal, and then eat all of it. And if there's anything left over, you burn it up with fire so that there's nothing left over. Why? Because this is a special event. That meal is sacred. It ain't meant to be shared or eaten leftovers or sit in the refrigerator for a week. None of that. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it the night. And when a stranger that shall sojourn with thee and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised. If he's going to do this, he needs to be circumcised, because that's what it means to be Jewish. And then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land, adopted. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. Whoops. Listen, that was then. Thank you. Appreciate that. Paul taught circumcision of the heart, which came in around the time of Christ. A little bit before that, actually. So there's circumcision of the flesh and circumcision of the heart. And these days, since Christ, if you are circumcised of the heart, meaning you have accepted God's words to be truth and you live accordingly, then there's no need for the flesh circumcision, because it's the same thing. It means the same thing. So now, if you are circumcised of the heart, you can partake of the Passover. I think that's how that works. I think that's what the Bible says to be true, and I think I can prove that. So you don't need to be circumcised of the flesh if you're circumcised of the heart. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. Thus did all the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the self same day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies, and there were armies of them, at least a couple million. If you think about women and children and animals, there was a bunch of people. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn. Whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast, is mine. From that day forward, the firstborn of every family is dedicated to God, because it is his. And Moses said unto the people, Remember this day, in which you came out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out of this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month Abib, or April, if you don't know Hebrew. And it shall be, when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, Canaan proper, and the Hittites and the Amorites, and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month, April. Now, I would like to ask you a question. You've seen Canaan. Does it remind you of a place that is flowing with milk and honey? Does it seem like it's bursting at the seams with prosperity at the moment? No, it's a desert, and everything there's dead. And if it's green, they piped it in from somewhere else. Why is that? Well, when this all occurred back in the day, it was prosperous and bursting at the seams with life and flowing with milk and honey. It was a glorious promised land. Here's the problem, though. It was contingent upon some conditions, and the Israelites did not keep their end of the bargain, and so it died. This is what happens when you don't keep a promise you make to God. You wither. You fall apart. God does not keep his promise because you didn't keep yours, right? So, yes, in those days, Canaan was flowing with milk and honey, and it was bursting at the seams with life, and it was prosperous all over the place, and it was a great place to be. It was the promised land. But it didn't stay that way, because if is a big word, and they didn't keep the if part of the arrangement. In fact, they did almost immediately. They went towards breaking the if part of the arrangement. Almost immediately. They didn't even wait. They didn't even get comfortable. I don't think they stopped walking before they started sinning. It continues. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and in the 7th day shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall be no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy quarters. Take it out of your house. No leaven in the country. Just remove it. And thou shalt show thy son in that day, saying, This is done because of that which the Lord did unto me when I came forth out of Egypt. That's why we're doing this, because he did that. Tell your children. And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes. Is this the first? This is the first time the Bible makes a reference to the right hand and the forehead. The right hand and the forehead. The right hand and the forehead. The work of God and what you believe. Your ideology and what you do. Right? Think about that. In the end times with the mark of the beast, where does the mark of the beast go? In the right hand or in the forehead? In the right hand or in the forehead? The work that you do and what you believe. Your ideology and the things you do. You understand? They are directly connected, these two things. The good and the bad. It shall be for a sign unto thee upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes. Now, what's between your eyes? Your brain. That the Lord's law may be in thy mouth. For with a strong hand hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt therefore keep this ordinance in his season from year to year. Every April you do the same thing over and over again. Dedicate your firstborn children to God. Celebrate Passover for a week in April. 14 days past the spring equinox at sundown is when it begins. The 21st day of April is when it ends at sundown. And it shall be, when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, as he sware unto thee and to thy fathers, and shall give it thee, that thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix, or anything that goes through the womb, anything that is born. And the firstling that cometh of a beast which thou hast, the males shall be the Lord's. Is he a sexist God? No. Males are stronger. Anyway, so once you get to Canaan and get settled in, every firstborn male that you have in this land, you dedicate it to God in April. All the males of your cattle, all the males of your children, you dedicate them to God. They belong to God. And every firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb. That's the sacrifice. Notice he didn't say redeem the firstborn child. You just dedicate him to God. The ass and the lamb you kill as a sacrifice. In these days, sacrifice was done away with, so we don't do that anymore. But in those days, this was the rule. Redeem with the lamb. And if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break his neck. And all the firstborn of man among thy children shalt thou redeem with the lamb. And it shall be, when thy son asketh thee in time to come, saying, What is this? That thou shalt say unto him, By strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that the Lord slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem with the blood of the Lamb. Right? So you understand what's happening here. I sacrifice the firstborn animals, and with their blood I redeem the firstborn child as an offering to God. So don't ever let anybody tell you, and I know they will, I've heard them say it, that the Bible supports human sacrifice. It does not. That is not what's being talked about here. Look at how it is structured. Look at how God tells him to explain it to his very much alive child, why he's doing the things he's doing. To redeem him. Just like when you ask Christ to come into your life and you get redeemed by the blood of that lamb. Same thing. You get to live. He gets to die. And it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. I don't know what a frontlet is, but it's up here. Frontlets? I'm guessing eyelids? I don't know. It shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. For by the strength of hand the Lord brought us forth out of Egypt. Now, you notice how if you go to Israel, some Jews wear funny little hats and they have a little box attached to their forehead. They tie it around. There's a little box there. Well, what's in that box is scripture. They write certain things and roll it up, put it in that box, and stick it to their forehead because of this expression right here. That's why they do that. I don't know what that does for them, but that's why they do it. They're responding to this verse. I guess that little box is a frontlet. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, thank you, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. Yeah, we didn't go through the Philistines' land because they're fighting over there, and I didn't want to scare the people and have them run back to Egypt because at least there they were safe. No, I want them to be free, but I got to uncondition them first. They're conditioned to be slaves. They've brainwashed into living that lifestyle. They believe in those religions. We've got to change them back to sovereign thinking people. And in order to do that, we can't scare the bejesus out of them with war, or else they'll run back into the arms of Pharaoh and still be slaves. Makes sense. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. Harnessed. They went up harnessed. Out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him. Joseph, remember Joseph, who used to run Egypt, who brought his father and his brothers into Egypt and gave them the land of Goshen to live in? That Joseph, the guy of many colors, that is the only remnant that the Israelites had of their previous religion. They kept Joseph's bones. Remember, he was buried in an Egyptian sarcophagus. So they had to go raid that sarcophagus, take his bones. So if you find Imhotep's tomb, it's empty. And I believe Imhotep was Joseph, because it has the coat of many colors on the wall, and the design and layout, even though it's a pyramid, it's a little tiny pyramid, but it's painted like the Hebrews would paint something, with the white and blue stripes, like that little mosque that's on Epstein Island or whatever it is. It looked kind of like that. Anyway, that's why I believe it's him. But there were no bones in it, because the Israelites took Joseph's bones and they kept them, and they talked about, I guess, history. They kept them in secret, and they whispered over them the name of God, I am that I am, because that's all they remembered. They didn't actually have a religion. They've been in captivity for 430 years. So Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And so they do at the end. Moses doesn't make it to the promised land. He dies on the way. And they took their journey from Succoth, where they had stopped to cook, and encamped in Etham, in the edge of the wilderness, right on the edge of the desert. They're just about to leave civilization now and go into the desert. And the Lord went forth before them by day in a pillar of a cloud, to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. So, the reason they knew how to go is because they were following a cloud, a big pole of cloud. And when the sun went down, it turned into fire, and they followed that, and they could see by it, so they weren't in the dark. So they traveled day and night following this pillar. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pihahiroth, between Midgol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. That's the Lord's Zephon, just so you know. Not our lords, their lords. Before it shall ye encamp by the sea. So you can find these places on a map and trace their trajectory out of Egypt. And if you go backwards, you can find out where they came from. It's not Giza, somewhere else in Egypt, but you can trace their trip all the way to Mount Sinai, which is in Arabia. So you can start there and go backwards. And when you find Midgall, and draw a line from Mount Sinai to Midgall, and from Midgall to Succoth, and from Succoth downwards, and you'll find out where they came from. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. The wilderness hath shut them in. Now, if you're doing that line thing that I just told you about, you'll note that there's a portion of the world where they get channeled into a little ravine, and there's a mountain on both sides and a valley, and they're in the valley walking towards the ocean. So they are trapped. They can't go that way, and they can't go that way, and they can't go backwards, and they can't go forwards because there's an ocean in front of them. And it's quite a long ways. Now, Pharaoh eventually changes his mind and sends his entire army after them. Go get my slaves back right now. So they're there in this ravine going towards the ocean, and there's nowhere to go. So Pharaoh thinks he's got them. They can't just drown, right? And they can't turn around because there's Pharaoh's army coming up behind them. And I think Pharaoh was with his army. I'm not sure, but I think he died with them. Because it is right after this event that Egypt fell, right? That was the end of the golden era. A vacuum happened, the power structure collapsed, and a vacuum happened, and all the surrounding areas came in, and that's where the Ptolemy and all that came from. People becoming pharaohs that weren't even Egyptian, like Cleopatra. Alexander the Great was pharaoh of Egypt for a little while. Things like that. God continues, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his host. Yeah. That the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. So here comes Pharaoh's army coming up behind the Israelites, and they're in this ravine walking towards the Red Sea. There's a beach there, but there's mountains on both sides that go into the water. There's nowhere they can turn. They have to either, like lemurs, run off into the ocean or turn around and face Pharaoh's army. So they think. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people, and they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? He made ready his chariot, and he took his people with him. Yes, he did. He was with them. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over every one of them. He's mad. Why did we let our slaves go? Now they're going to flee, and we're never going to get them back. Remember, he's still under the impression they're only going to be gone for 3 days, but they're heading towards Arabia. And his people are saying, yeah, they're not coming back. So Pharaoh's like, well, damn that, let's go get them. We got bricks to make. And the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with a high hand, meaning they were hightailing it towards that beach, following God's pillar. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them, encamping by the sea beside Pihahiroth, before Baalzephon. So, if you'll look at the map, and you'll find that little ravine that goes towards the Red Sea, and it opens up onto a beach, and there's a little Roman guard shack there. That's it. That's the only thing on the beach. There's a mountain that goes into the water on that side and one that goes into the water on that side. And there's a beach big enough for about 2 million people to stand or camp. It's a pretty big beach. But then there's the Red Sea, and there's nowhere to go. So the Pharaoh's army has overtaken them and caught them on this beach. There's nowhere to go. So he thinks he's got them. He's heading down this ravine, about to round them up. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. And they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord, Lord, we're trapped. What do we do now? And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? You know, we weren't dying in Egypt. We might have been slaves. We might have been worked nearly to death, but we weren't dying. Now you've got us out here on the beach and we're all going to die. Thanks a lot. To which Moses said, nothing's free. If you're going to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Jesus Christ, man. Have a little faith. We got this far, haven't we? Did you not witness the 10 plagues? You don't think I got another couple of tricks up my sleeve? Have y'all taken us into the wilderness to die? Wherefore hast thou dealt with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Why did you take us out of Egypt? We were happy there. We could get hamburgers there. Now we're here on a beach and there's nothing to eat and there's an army coming after us and a strange pillar of smoke for some reason. Hoy, ay, 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 ay. Hoy vey. Thus was born the complainers. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? Didn't we tell you to leave us there? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Talk about looking a gift horse in the mouth. You didn't like being a slave. You cried to God because you were slaves. So God came and saved you, and now you're crying because you'd rather be a slave than to be in a little danger. Something ain't adding up here. Maybe you're just unpleasable. Can't please you with a pleasing stick. On vibrate. And Moses said unto the people, hey, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you shall see them again no more forever. Do you get it? Do you get it now? Do you remember the last plague? Remember when we were eating? You heard those people screaming outside? That's because God killed all their firstborn children. And now they're attacking us. What do you think he's going to do here? You see the pillar of fire we've been following? He's close. Watch what he does. You won't see those guys tomorrow. Have a little faith. Be still and know that he is God, or something like that. I'm working on it. I'll get it right soon. Anyway, the Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. You won't have to do any fighting, so relax. You sissy. Meshuggah. It's the first time that was ever spoken. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Why are you crying to me now? Didn't I free you already? What do you need? What's up? What do you need? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. There's an ocean. We can't go forward. I'm God. Go forward. He says, lift up thy rod and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it. Dummy. Oh, well, that's easy for you to say. I'll just divide the sea. You mind telling me how I'm going to do that, God? Lift up your rod and tell it to divide, and it'll obey you. Why? Because I made it and I want it to. I'll try. All right. And the children of Israel shall go over on dry ground through the midst of the sea. Yeah, that's the idea, Moses. Now go over there and lift up your rod. All right. And behold, I will harden the heart of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. But we're trying to get away from them. Yeah. But when they go into the ocean, I'll drown them. You'll be on the other side. Are you sure? Have we been through this I'm God thing yet? Yeah. Okay. You go, and then I'll make them follow you. And then when you get to the other side, they'll be hard on your trail, and I'll just sweep them off the face of the earth. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. How do I do the splitting thing again? Just raise your stick in the air and say, divide. Let me introduce you to Charlton Heston. He'll show you how to do it. Go show him how to do it. Okay. God continues, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his host, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. You're really concerned about this honor thing, aren't you? It's kind of why I do everything. Okay. And the angel of God, Gabriel, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of the Israelites. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. Why? Because it was fire. They made a wall of fire between the two camps. So while they rested in the evening, the Egyptians couldn't sneak over and start killing people. Moses walked over to the ocean, and he looked. He says, okay, stick, you and I have been through a lot together. I feel silly, but I'm going to try this because God said it, and I believe him because I've seen what he can do. So let's just give it a shot, shall we? And so Moses stretched out his hand over the ocean, over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, that made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided like a tsunami, not like the wall in the movie, whatever it was Charlton Heston was in, the Ten Commandments. It wasn't a wall of water on both sides. The water just assuaged on both directions like a tsunami. You ever seen the ocean go out and not come back in? That means there's a tsunami coming. Well, it went out and it didn't come back in. So there's dry land. Now, here's the interesting part. If you'll go find that little ravine that I told you about that leads towards Arabia, find the little beach that I told you about, and then there's the Red Sea, then go to a map of a topography map, and look, there is a land bridge. That ocean is about 900 feet deep in that area, that waterway. But there's a land bridge exactly in the center of that beach where the land is only about 100 feet deep, just in that spot. It's over 900 feet deep in both directions, all the way across the ocean. But in that one spot, there's a bridge there that's only about 100 feet deep. That's real. You can see that today. I want to say it's called 𝕿𝕙𝕝 or something like that. The place where it's at. You can look for it, though. It's there. Hang on. And the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them, unto their right hand and unto their left. It says it's a wall, but a minute ago it said it assuaged, so you do your math. This is the verse why they made it look like that in the Ten Commandments, like two stiff walls. I don't believe that it was a wall. I think this is clever writing, because I know how water works, and water cannot stand up like that. So I think what it means by it was a wall unto them is that the water was gone that way and the water was gone that way and it didn't come back. But if you want to believe it stood up, you can. It didn't. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. They were all in hot pursuit of the Israelites. And it came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians. So he peeved them off and made them go even further, right? He's messing with them now. And took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily. So that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. But it's too late. They're in the waterway. Their chariot wheels are coming off. They're dragging their chariots now, right? So they're like, we need to get out of here. God's fighting on their behalf. So we're not in a safe place. We need to retreat. Pharaoh's like, no, go get my Israelites right now. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the sea again, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, and upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. Further proof that the water is assuaged and went away, and then came back rushing in, not like a wall. I know it said it was like a wall unto them. I know it said that, but I don't think that's exactly what it's talking about, the way you visualize it. I think it just means the water was kept away specifically on both sides, like if he built a wall. But the Lord said, Stretch out your hand again over the sea, and the waters will come and swallow up the Egyptians and their chariots and their horsemen. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength when the morning appeared. So the sun came up over the horizon, and the waters rushed back in, and it covered up the Egyptians. And the Egyptians fled against it to no avail. You can't outrun the water. And the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. They ran, but it was too late. They were in the middle, and they couldn't get back to the end in time, and they were all drowned. That is the leader of Egypt and all of his army. His power structure was all in the middle of that waterway, and they all died. So there's literally nobody left to protect or to run Egypt. They're all gone. So now there's a massive power vacuum in Egypt. Nobody's in charge. The people are just willy-nilly. Nobody to look to. So all of the surrounding areas come in and take power where they can. So for a while it was a free-for-all. People just taking whatever they could take before they eventually reestablished a civilization there and appointed a leader, and it became a nation again. For a long time it was just a take what you can get kind of place. But the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. Every single one of them drowned. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. It says it again, so if you want to see it that way, you can. I don't see it that way. I think what they mean by wall is like if you dammed up their water, it holds it back. I don't think they saw a wall of water. I don't think it was like that. But if you want to see it that way, that's your business. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and the Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. So they all washed up on shore dead. Now, here's another interesting thing. If you go to that spot and go diving, and there are pictures and video of this online, you can go find it. At the bottom, strewn all the way across that waterway, is chariot wheels and chariot parts and horse hooves and human bones and all manner of things all across that seabed. This happened. This is a real event that really did take place. Solomon, when he was a king, erected a pillar on his side of that water, on the side of the water where he was in charge, that commemorated that being the crossing of the Red Sea. And the Sultan of Arabia erected a pillar on his side commemorating the same thing. Apparently he was friends with Solomon. So there are pillars there that tell you this is the spot that it happened, even though it's not mainstream. If you go there, you can see evidence that it took place. This is a real event. So go check it out. Israel saw the great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. This word feared is reverence, not terror. They revered the Lord is a better way to translate that. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song. He is become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him a habitation, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captains are also drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them, and they sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, hath dashed in pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thine excellency thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sentest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were gathered together, the floods stood upright as a heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them, and they sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, amongst the gods, lowercase g? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand, and the earth swallowed them. Thou in thy mercy hast fled forth the people which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them in thy strength unto thy holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid, or be in reverence. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina. I think it's happening now. Then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab trembling shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. By thy greatness of thine arm shall they be as still as a stone, till thy people pass over. O Lord, till the people pass over, which thou hast purchased. Thou shalt bring them in and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Lord, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought again the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. Amen, amen, and amen. What a fantastic song that was. That's where we're going to stop for today. We will pick up tomorrow night and see what Miriam, the prophetess, has to say as she goes out with her timbrels and dance. What a fantastic read that was. I hope that touched your heart. I hope that it causes you to think about some stuff, figure out some stuff, understand some stuff, look up some stuff, and, do some stuff. But while you're thinking about it, while you're congealing it over in your mind, trying to understand the Word of God, I want you to do me a favor. Consider this. Consider hitting that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's effortless. It's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms. Helps us get recommended to people. Won't you do that, please? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me. Drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I really want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build and you'd like to help me build it, consider joining the channel. Get yourself a JTag. Make yourself part of the family. Buy a t-shirt. Leave a super chat in the chat box. But if you feel led to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings to this humble ministry, you can do that by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband or Cash App $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It is a win-win. It is a blessing to me. Of course it is. But we live in a reciprocal universe. That means it's a blessing to you too. Why? Because God notices when you help his cause. Now, I'll do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all of your questions and comments and avail myself of you 24/7 as I always have and always will, beginning right now. All right. What did you think? Did you learn anything? Do you feel enlightened? Do you feel like your brain is turning a little bit to mush? Tell me what's on your mind. Talk to me, peoples. John says, I brought myself a pressure washer today with my new business starting up bit by bit. I'm proud of you, John. You keep working towards that goal and you will achieve what you set out to achieve. Britain needs a good pressure washing business. You got a lot of old buildings there. All that stone needs cleaning off. You can do it. Judy says, good luck, Nugget. Bill Bennett says, what episode do you show how to play every song in like 3 chords? My daughter just got into playing and catching on fast. I have no idea what episode that was, but it was a while ago. Probably about 2 years ago. I imagine it will be in the title of the episode, though. Hang on, my chat jumped. I found it. All right. Bill Bennett says the whole world agrees on what year it is. That's actually not true. If you look at the Hebrew calendar right now, it's 5775, I think it is, or something like that. We agree that it's 2026. The Westerners. You mean the Western world agrees on what year it is. There are other cultures in the world. Amanda says, a convocation is a formal assembly or gathering of people often called together for a specific purpose, such as a university ceremony or academic meeting or a religious council. It also refers to the act of summoning or calling people together. It is commonly used for a welcoming of new students, graduation, or alumni events. As I said, it's a get-together so that they can do all of the things in the rituals. I just couldn't remember the exact definition of it, but thank you. Amy says, I understand. By Saturday, I'm exhausted and don't want to do anything. Right on. Amy says, thanks, Amanda. Amanda says, you're welcome. And Amy says, leaven? Yeast? Yes. That is exactly what leaven is, and it is symbolic for sin. Bread is symbolic for the group of people, and the leaven is symbolic in how it rises through, how you add just a little bit of yeast and it rises and goes all through the bread. That's how sin works too. Amanda says leavened bread is bread that has risen due to the addition of a leavening agent such as yeast, sourdough starter, baking powder, or baking soda, which creates gas bubbles that lighten the dough. These agents produce carbon dioxide during fermentation or chemical reactions, creating a soft, airy, spongy texture, like sin does. Maybe it's Maybelline. Hey, Mabel. Mabel says, ciao, everybody. Hello, how art thou? Nice to see you. And Amanda says, yes, Amy. And Mabel, hamburger helper hand. Amy says, thanks. Maybe it's Maybelline. Amanda says, you're welcome. Amanda says, Bill, to your above question, I don't know, but I can go back and look. I will do it tomorrow and let you know. What about the whole world agreeing what year it is? They don't. The Mayans had one interpretation. The Western world has one interpretation. The Hebrews have one interpretation, and there's probably some mixture in China and some other places. Oh, about the video. I got you. Yeah, I don't know what. I have no idea what video it is. Amanda can find it, though. She's seen them all. Amber Grounds is here. She says, amen. Prayers and hearts. Hey, Amber. Amy says, there's another reoccurrence in the Bible with the firstborn. Yes, there's a couple of times that the firstborn children were slaughtered. Herod did it to try and stop the birth of Christ. The Pharaoh did it to try to stop something. I don't remember what it was. It might have been a punishment, but that's when Moses was born. And that's the reason his mother put him in a basket and sent him down to the Pharaoh's daughter to be raised in the Pharaoh's household so that he wouldn't get killed with all the other firstborn children. But I don't remember the reason for that one, why he was doing it, but it was probably to stop some kind of rebellion or something. Mabel says, there are many tutorials on YouTube that cover 3 to 4 chords in many songs. When Hannah started learning, she watched a lot of YouTube. Amen to that. It ain't like it was when I was a kid where you had to sit in front of a record player and keep playing back the chord over and over and over again to figure it out. Now you can go and get on YouTube and they can tell you everything you need to know to learn any song on the planet. And it just so happens that there's only 7 chords, and all the songs that have ever been written use those 7 chords in some variety. And once you start seeing the patterns, it's very easy to learn new songs. But it's all about pattern recognition. The doohickey division, says Amy. Yes. There's a whole group of Israelites that are just a doohickey division. They just deal with doohickeys. They don't handle any other substance. Amy says God said to have a bug-out bag. In other words, be ready to go. That's right. Be ready to go. Shoes on your feet, belt cinched, clothes on, staff in hand, over the shoulder, pack over the shoulder, and ready to go. And eat quickly. Gobble it down real quick. And when he says it's time to go, walk out the door right then. In other words, here I am. Amy says, this is the Old Testament. I think Jesus would have wanted people to feed their neighbors. Nope. Not when it's talking about what they're talking about. It is the Old Testament, but we're talking about a specific event, and those neighbors should be feeding themselves at that moment. Because remember, all the Jews lived in one place, in Goshen. And so they would go and put the blood on the doorpost. If their neighbor didn't have blood on the doorpost, their neighbor's house was hit by the death angel and they died. So you wouldn't want to be over there trying to spread food, especially the Passover meal, which is very important. And there should have been none left. Burn up the leftovers with fire. Don't even keep any of it. Don't save any for the road. Robert, hamburger brand, Robert. Welcome to the show. Amanda says, Robert, hamburger brand. Amy says, Robert, welcome. Wavy hand. Please like and subscribe. I think he has subscribed before. I think he's been here. John Anthony says, Mr. P says, good to know I can still become a practicing Jew. Not that I ever will, but who knows? Maybe a rich Jewish heiress will want to marry me one day. All you got to do is snip, snip, and follow the rules. Mr. P says, what area do they align geographically with the Promised Land? That would be Canaan, or what we would now call the West Bank, that area. Pretty much where they still are today. Where would it be exactly today? Pretty much where they are today, where Israel is in that area. If you look at a map, you'll see that edge of land. It's a long area. That's Canaan. If you can find an old map and find Canaan, that's what we're talking about. That would be the Promised Land. Amy says, yin yang. Yep, a little bit of darkness in your light and a little bit of light in your darkness, and an equal amount of both on either side. That is correct. There's a lot of wisdom in that symbol. What it is. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. He says, hello, Jake and all, in this Bible study. A lot of likes today. Thank you. I count 16 so far. Have you hit your like button yet? What it is? Amanda says, hamburger upper hand, what it is. And by the way, a frontlet is an ornamental band, a fillet, or a phylactery worn on the forehead, the little box that the Jews tie around their head. Yeah. Often serving as a religious symbol of faith, a decorative headband, or protective covering for an animal's forehead. Well, it's a little box that the Hebrews put on their little funny hat, and it's got scripture in it, and that's what it is. They have the weirder the hat, the stronger the Jew. That's what I'm saying. You go over there and you look, there's hierarchies of hats. There's some that's got the little bowler hat with the little stringy hangy downs. There's some that's got the big cheese wedge hat. Some got a hat stand straight up with a little dangly thing on the top. The weirder the hat, the stronger the Jew. That's all I'm saying. They're like wizards. There's levels of Jews. Some of them have a little thing on their head. Some of them have a thing wrapped around their right hand, tied. It also has scriptures in it. Some of them wear a full-on Iron Man suit with a pointy nose. I'm not sure about that last one, but check them out. You want your Jews to be strong Jews, so you want the ones with the weird, funny, big hats. And a lot of this, for some reason, I don't know why they do that. Amanda says the term also refers specifically to the Jewish tefillin worn during morning prayers as referenced in biblical scripture. You're still using a bunch of other words that I don't know. What is a tefillin or a pedactory, a phylactery, or a fillet? I don't know what any of those... No, I do know what they mean. I'm just teasing. Basically, it's a little box with scripture in it that they wear as a symbol of their faith. That's it. That's all. Mr. P says, how twisted is that? Epstein had a synagogue on his island. That's pretty twisted. Well, he was Jewish. 20 likes. Woohoo. I've got 17. No. I have 19. 19 likes. I'll take 20, though. Maybe my number hasn't updated yet. But thank you. John says, they were Jewish folks prior to the works. Yep. So they had little faith and worshipped false idols and constantly twisted the disciples. Yes. Constantly tested the disciples. Yes. Kevin says, sounds like socialist Democrats. You're not wrong. There is some wisdom in that statement. And Mr. P says, socialist Democrats have no faith at all. You're not wrong. There's some wisdom in that statement. Think about the comparison. That is a good way to look at it. Monkey Juice is here. Hey, Monkey Juice, thank you for joining us for Bible study. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Monkey Juice says, it is, Kevin. It is. Amanda says, Monkey Juice, hamburger upper hand, and a monkey. Mr. P says, Monkey, out of luck mode here. Hello, out of lurk mode. Hello there. Yep, Monkey Juice is out of lurker mode. Monkey Juice says, hello, John. John says, no hard feelings, we're both men. Monkey Juice says, never hard feelings. Well, thank you both. And Amy says, Charleston Heston. Ha ha. You like the way I paint that? Maureen says, my computer is being a pain tonight. It keeps buffering. Well, give it some aspirin. Maybe it needs a break. John says, cowabunga. Monkey, Charlton Heston was that dude, though. He was that dude. Earliest epic I recall watching, he was on the chariot. You must be talking about either Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments. Thank you, Amy. Topographical map. Yeah, I can read it. I just can't say it. Maureen says, and archaeologists have found the land bridge and the chariots. Yes, they have. That's what I was referring to. And it is all there, just like the Bible says it was. A Madaba map? I don't know what a Madaba map is, but I like saying it. Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map. It sounds like my Harley. Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map. Amanda says, theological topographical maps show the division of the 12 tribes or elevation maps of the region. Yes. Yes, they do. Anything topographical will show you the elevations and the depths, and you want to find the one that covers that portion of the Red Sea so that you can see that it's almost 1,000 feet deep all through that thing, except for right there where they passed. There's a like a natural land bridge there. It's only about 100 feet deep, the water, which is why when the east wind blew, the water assuaged and didn't come back. It was easy to do because that spot didn't have that much water on it. Mr. P says, yeah, haters said that later on boats dumped the chariots there. Yep. I don't know why they would think that. Who would do that? And why would they do that? How would they know that one day we'd dive down and be able to see them, though? Nobody threw away chariots willingly. They were expensive, yes, and the ones that are down there are covered in gold, by the way, because they belong to a pharaoh. Yeah, nobody threw those down there. Haters can say all kinds of things. That don't make it true. Just think about that. Why would you throw away gold-plated chariots to prove a point? You wouldn't do that. Gold is valuable. If anything, if they knew they were down there, they'd be diving and trying to retrieve parts of it. Now it's like a national park, whatever it's a conservative. What do you call that? Conservatorship, where you can't touch anything down there or move anything. Thank God for that, because now they can actually find stuff and tag it with geotags, and where everything's supposed to be at. You can make a picture of it, which is coming in the future. They're working on that as we speak. They only found it in the 90s. And Maureen says, I give up. The buffering is too much. See y'all tomorrow night, I hope. Well, I love you, Maureen. Thank you for being here, honey. I hope your computer gets better. Try cleaning out your cookies. And, temporary internet files and stuff like that. That might help. Mr. P says, good night, Maureen. Amanda says, good night, Maureen. And Maureen says, too true, John. Amanda says, great read, Jake. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for listening. Kevin says, another good read. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Kevin. God bless you, my friend. Thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of it. John says, thank you, Jake. Great read. Thank you, John. My pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you got something out of it. Judy says, hey, Mabel and Hannah. And then my chat jumped. Hang on. Jumped a lot. Kevin says, socialist Democrats would rather be slaves to the government than live as free people. Yes. And they did a lot of that in the coming stories. As they left Egypt, they were then free, right? God made them free. They could do anything they wanted to do. They griped the whole time. Wait till you see what they did at the foot of Mount Sinai while God was in view of them. They could hear him talking to Moses. They could look up in a very small mountain and see God's presence. Wait till you see what they were doing while that was going on. It will make you disgusted in humanity. Judy says, hey, what it is, and hey, Monkey, and hey, bye, Maureen. Cowboys 8 Panel says, been quiet. Hello, darling. How are you? Nice to see you. Long time. Hope you're doing well. And you don't have to be quiet. You've been around long enough. You can say whatever you want to here. You know that. Amy says, tornado warning in my area. It's hailing outside. Well, please be careful. And Bill says, thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. Amanda says, Cowboys, hamburger upper hand, and a cowboy smiley face. And Amy says, thanks for the read and the knowledge, Jake. My pleasure, Amy. Thank you. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for listening. Amanda says, I missed you, Amber. Hamburger upper hand, hamburger upper hand. Sorry I was on the phone when you came in. Judy says, hey, Cowboys. And John says, C major or minor is my favorite. I like the D chord and the A chord and the E chord are my favorites. I can do a lot with those 3 chords. Amber says, wonderful read tonight, Jake. I've heard it many times, never with thought of water parting differences. Heavy thought. Thank you, dear. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Judy says, oh, Amy, be careful. Or, Amy, be careful. And Amber, yes, most people just say that the water stood upright like this, but that's not physically possible. Water don't do that. I like to think of God as everything he does has a natural explanation for it. And I have seen a tsunami where the water rushed out and didn't come back. It's dry land. And I believe that's the way it would have went there. And if you want to get right down to the nitty gritty, I think I know what caused it. There was a strong east wind because at that exact moment in time, Santorini, which is not too far away in Greece, exploded, had a big volcanic eruption and blew up that island, Santorini, and it caused a tsunami, right? And I believe that event caused the parting of the Red Sea. Scientifically accurate, everything God does has a legitimate scientific answer for why it worked. Because God is supernatural. That's more natural than regular natural. He's not magic. It's not a spaghetti monster in the clouds. He's God. And everything he created works with the laws of physics, including what he does. That's why I teach it as the water is swaged. They don't use that word, but they use the word wall. But I can also see how a wall keeps water from coming in. So it was like there were a wall on either side. The water didn't come back. But I don't believe they meant the water stood up like a wall. Right. But if you want to believe that it did, that's fine with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. As long as you believe that the event took place, that's the important part. How it happened is irrelevant. And Judy says, hey, Amber. Amber says, hearts, hearts. Miss Hammer, thank you for sharing him. Oh, thank you. Cowboy says, hi, Judy. And Miss Hammer says, thank you. Amber says, have any of y'all thought about the water parting that way? I mean, there's only a couple of ways it could happen. Either it happened the Charlton Heston way, or it happened the way that water functions on the earth. And it went away. And there was a land bridge there so they could walk across on dry land, and there's water on either side of them in the deep parts. And that also could be why they talked about it like a wall on either side of them, because they were on a shallow spot and there was deep parts on both sides that still had water in it. Don't know. But that's a good question, Amber, and if anybody wants to answer it, please do. Amber says, Judy, heart, heart, heart. Cowboy says, I didn't know there was a wall found. No, we're talking about the parting of the Red Sea, and where it describes it as it being like a wall unto them, water on the left hand and water on the right hand. I'm talking about when I teach it as the water is swaged because of the east wind, and the dry land appeared and they walked across on it. And when Pharaoh's army was on that dry land, the water came back and drowned them. But other people teach it like the Charlton Heston movie, where the water stood up on end like this, and they walked through it like a narrow pathway through the water just cut out. And I don't believe that's possible. I try to lend credibility to everything I teach. So, if that makes sense. Amber says, Anthony C. Smiley face. I mean, Mr. P. Amber says, Jake talking about the hats is reminding me of the Flintstones and the Grand Poobah Club. There's a reason that funny hats rule the world. You ever seen the Pope's hat? He's got the biggest, weirdest hat because he's the biggest, weirdest wizard. Wizards wear funny hats. Don't forget that. And they all have a staff, too, for some reason. The weirder the staff, the weirder the wizard. Cowboys 8 Panel says, smiley, smiley. Amber says, I wasn't lurking, I was listening. Kind of the same. Not really, though. Listening is what I prefer. Amanda says, I'm glad you know what all them other words mean, because I was about to look them all up, LOL. Yeah, you don't have to. We got the gist. They all get together and commune with God. That's the main thing. Amber says, Cowboy, your name is Gray. How are you? I think it's white, but gray, I'll take it. Mr. P says, I couldn't believe I was actually agreeing with Bill Maher this past few weeks. The dude is arguing in favor of Trump's moves lately. I know, right? I've been watching that too. I actually like Bill Maher. I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I like where his head's at. I just can't stand to listen to him talk. He's very annoying. He does this thing where he laughs and talks at the same time all the time, and I hate it. Judy says, LOL, John. Amber says, speaking about your Harley, are you up and running again? Yes, I got it going again today. Got it off the trailer, got the tire back on it, got everything put back together, and rode it around a little bit this afternoon. It's still not finished. I still got a lot of things to do, but the part that was keeping me stranded is fixed. Amanda says, Madaba map is a mosaic map that depicts an area from Lebanon in the north to the Nile Delta in the south, from the Mediterranean Sea in the west to the eastern desert. It contains the oldest surviving original cartographic depiction of the Holy Land, and especially Jerusalem. The map dates to the 6th century A.D. Well, everybody look up your Madaba map then. That'll give you an idea what's going on around there. And just remember, it sounds like a Harley. Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map, Madaba map. Cowboy says, I'm good, thanks, Amber. Mr. P says, things about Iran is, I don't know why we went in at all. If we're not prepared to put boots on the ground, if you're a doctor operating and you don't go in without making sure you remove the cancer, it makes no sense. I don't disagree. I wish we hadn't went in at all, but we did. Amber says, okay, Cowboy, nice to know. But Amber says, diamonds and hearts. And Cowboy says, oh, new. I've been listening to Jake a while now, Amber. Am I missing some chats here? I feel like there's a conversation going on that I'm not following. Okay. I got you. Amber says, no worries, Cowboy. I took 5 units of insulin. I'm getting loopy. Insulin makes you loopy? I didn't know that. Amber says, E is my favorite chord. Yeah, it's a good, strong chord. I like it. Has a character. I've been listening to this fella on YouTube playing rock backing tracks. Nobody really plays, says John. The way he's playing, it makes your brain buzz. The kind of tune that could bring humanity together. Wow, that's high praise. What's his name? Amber says, Jake, you are a logical thinker. It's one of my favorite things about you, critical mind. Thank you, dear. I appreciate that. I try. I'm not always successful, but I try. And I appreciate you noticing. Amanda says, yes, Amber. And he never stops. His mind is always going. He even talks about stuff in his sleep. It's crazy sometimes. This is true. Yeah, I am definitely the kind of guy that you love to listen to for an hour. But the problem is, is it don't turn off. You can turn it off. I can't. I have to live with this. So, enjoy. Amber says Papa John's Masonic Club had funny hats and cane things, label pins. Papa John's Masonic Club? I didn't know Papa John was a Mason. Or was there a Papa John's in the Masonic Club? Not sure. Bill Bennett says, good night, guys. Much love and prayers all around. Bill, thank you for being here, brother. God bless you. Amanda says, good night, Bill. Mr. P says, the world's full of sissies, honestly. I went off topic, Jake. Just reading the news, and it's about the immense pressure on Trump to pull out of the Middle East. We're there, though. Why not make sure? I hear you, buddy. And we were talking about that last night on Politics. I don't agree with the war, but if we're there, I'd like to win it. Amber says, hugs. Good night, friends. Please pray for me as I pray for y'all. See y'all on the next podcast. We do pray for you, Amber, and thank you for being here. God bless you, and we love you. Cowboy says, good night, Bill. Judy says, bye, Bill. Mr. P says, the Muslim Brotherhood could come back worse than ever. They wiped the old farts. Yeah, there's always going to be a bad guy. That's true. Amber says, my mom's dad was Papa John. Really? The pizza guy? Cool. You must be rich. Bill Bennett says, Skylar said hi and bye. Hi, Skylar. And good night, Skylar. And Judy says, bye, Amber. And good night, Cowboys. Mr. P says, the young extremists will be far worse. That's why we need to nip it in the bud. Amanda says, good night, y'all. See you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for a Bible study. Much love, y'all. And Nugget says, good night, everyone. I got physiotherapy in the morning. Prayers. And John says, good night, all. Well, good night, y'all. And Nugget, I hope your physiotherapy goes well. I hope you're recovering nicely and all things are functioning as needed. We'll be praying for you, and we love you. Everybody else, I love you true. I've enjoyed the conversation immensely. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the comments. I really hope that you get something out of my way of describing things and laying it out, and I hope that it is beneficial to you. And I hope God blesses you with that knowledge and with your understanding of his word, which is what we're here to do. So we'll see you tomorrow night. We'll continue this story and move on into the promised land. God bless y'all. Have a great night. When you go out into the world tomorrow, be nice to somebody. I promise it'll change your life, and it'll change theirs too. Have a good night. Until then, thanks for watching. God bless.